Hi everyone, welcome to my channel once again. So last week we had a good interview with one of the software engineers from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, who's a who's an expert in .NET framework. So today we are going to meet another one special software engineer who have been got the privilege of working with. His name is Dayan Kodippily. He has over 15 years of experience in the IT industry, both in Sri Lanka as well as in Malaysia as well as New Zealand. So he's a Java expert, and we would like to have his experience to be explained by him in his own words. So without any further ado, we will connect with him. Okay. Hi Dan. Hi. How are you?
Hi, hey Sachin.
How?
Good morning, and for us it's good morning here, but
Yeah,
for you it is
it's still Saturday evening for us. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
For us it's Sunday
Sunday
morning
morning, right?
around 10:35 here.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
good to see you. Good to
Good,
see you.
good to see you too after a long time. Diana and I go way back to 2013. We were living together in the same apartment back in Malaysia. So he's a very good cook, and he's a very good artist. He would sing. So he's a very multi-talented person and a very interesting person to have a conversation with. So we are very glad to have you, Diana, here today. So
All right, thank you very much,
yeah, so
and
he's a
humbled for your introduction. Yeah, yeah, it's. I think like we ran out of options to do back then, so
yeah.
we yeah we were cooking, eating, and doing all sort of fun stuff during our time back in Malaysia. Yeah, we had a good pack there. Like I think three of us or four of us. Yeah, it was a good time back there. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, yeah, of course, I wanted to interview you for a long time because you are an expert in the industry and you are senior to me also. So, I wanted to have a small discussion on you so that your experience can be shared with our viewers as well. So, it will be helpful for most of the, students and entry level people who are willing to come to this IT industry back in Sri Lanka. So your experience will be very helpful in that case. So then, can you please give a brief introduction about yourself? Like how did you start? What persuaded you to come into this IT industry and all? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. And by any means, I wouldn't use on myself like expert there. Like, I mean, like these days, everyone is an expert. Like,
Expert, yes,
plenty
yes.
of people are there in the industry, and all can actually access these tools and things. And the newcomers are a lot of ways they are doing very much better than us. That
Yeah.
when we are started,
Yeah.
yeah. On that case, yeah. So. Um, um, for IT, for me, like the turning point is actually it's actually two-sided. Back then in Sri Lanka, IT was not at least was not very much accessible to us. The tools and technology and stuff. But one turning point was my sister bought me a Pentium one computer back in 1998.
Okay.
At that time, I think it cost somewhere around. Um, 1,000 US dollars back that time, actually, a Pentium 1 computer, and
Okay.
it I think had 2 gigabytes of a hard disk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was actually one turning point where I had opportunity to put my hands into computer, learn few things and stuff like that. But I must say, like I was not very much geek kind of fellow. That it was more like playing games,
Yes,
and
yes.
this was new to me kind of thing. And
Yes.
then the time went back, and after my a levels. Of course, like we had different stream of studies at school, so
Yes.
I was not learning to become a technical fellow or something in the computer science. I was doing the bio streams.
Yes.
So, but then I decided to actually go through more into this and sort of like jump into IT. One thing was that the height that was at that it can give or make me rich, kind of
Yes.
like, money wise. That
That was
was
there.
dumb at that time, but
Yeah.
that was thing that mainly wanted me to jump into these things, and I also liked all these gadget things and stuff.
Yes, yes,
So
of course.
then I joined the uh, SLIIT, or the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology, back
Wow.
in 2002,
Okay.
and graduated in 2006 actually.
Wow, 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 good. So then, so from there you started working on, right, on 2000, since 2007, right? You started
Yes,
working. Yes.
no, then I had around 1.5 years of gap before I start to work, due to a few personal things
Okay.
that I had to sort at that time,
Okay.
my mother's demise and things like
Yes,
that. So
yes.
I think I started in late 2008.
Okay.
Um,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, so I
So,
joined as a
uh,
junior or starting software developer into a company called EAP Groups. At that time, it was actually a large company, group of companies.
wow.
So I started there,
Okay.
um, uh, doing some Java work,
Wow.
working with Swing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, good, good, good to hear this. So, so since 2018, so you have around 2008, so you have around more than 20,
close to
close
15,
15,
I think.
15 years, 15 years of
Yeah,
experience. That is very good.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is your current designation and the company company you are working for? You don't have to be specific if you don't want to. I mean,
Yes, that's all fine. Like here in New Zealand now, I'm working for a company called Westpac New Zealand. It's a
okay.
Australian-owned bank,
Wow. Wow.
one of the largest in the area. So uh, I'm working as a software engineer. More like we have flat hierarchies throughout the industry.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been here for now around 3 years. I enjoy my work here, mainly still working on the Java related work like APIs and stuff. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that is good. That is good to know. So yeah, so as you so you already answered this question. So you had a passion for gadgets and technology that made you to want to become a software engineer, right? So yeah,
Yes, I wouldn't say like I don't want to give the wrong impression that I had the vision of becoming a software engineer
okay,
kind of thing.
okay, okay.
Personally, I loved because I have ruined many of the gadgets we had at home, like radios and TVs,
Yeah,
where I tried to open and do my business. So I always had something for these things.
yes,
But the decision to join SLIIT was mainly like I didn't had enough cut off marks to
yes,
join
yes,
a
of
big
course,
university in Sri
of
Lanka.
course,
So,
of
and
course.
also, but there were not much of opportunity back then to. I mean, like you had opportunities to go out of the country to learn something, but it was so expensive. But
Yes,
luckily, I had the chance to join the SLIIT.
yes.
So that was like a 50-50 kind of a decision, I would say. Like uh, if I not were to take that decision at that time, I would probably have become an artist or something like that,
Oh,
because I like
yeah,
to
yeah. I know,
draw things like that.
I know. Of course, you
Yeah.
are a very good at it. Also, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, then. Let can you explain a bit on how you got this job in New Zealand, because some of the viewers might be interested in that also. Like, if you can, like how you got
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So before coming to that, I would say like now once you finish your degree or something like that, you can't really wait to get a job to
Yes.
earn some money,
Yes.
and you actually like kind of possess to jump into somewhere to earn something like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I wouldn't recommend that. The same mistake we did.
Yes. True.
It's good to. Um, Take a little break and find out what you really want to do.
Yes.
Do a little research on like what are the industry trends, and if you can work in a proper place that where you can get good experience
Yes.
without thinking the perks and stuff like that
Yes.
for the at least for a year or something like that.
Yes. Good. Correct.
So
Correct.
that would be really good, that you will be getting a really good foundation,
Mm.
the understanding of the industry and how to deal
Yes.
with people. It is not only the technology.
Yes.
So the story about New Zealand, I moved to New Zealand back in 2017 actually.
Okay.
So I applied for my permanent residency while I was working in Malaysia
Malaysia, of
and
course.
got it through and here. And like any other job, like here you this is my second company in New Zealand.
Okay.
But the thing is actually you need to put your public image as well, not only your technical stuff
Yes. True.
when
True.
applying to jobs in these countries.
Yes.
So it is good to have a proper LinkedIn page, your
Yes.
profile page, and
Yes.
your community contribution, whatever your GitHub or things
Yes.
like that. It will
Yes.
be backing things. So
Yes.
after
Those.
that, it would be like the same as you going to a job, you interviewings and things like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So you have inclusion all throughout. So it's not a big
Yes.
thing after that actually.
Yes. And you completed your MSc back in Malaysia, right? I remember you started doing in.
No, no, I
You
didn't
did it.
actually. I did all the coursework
Courses, yeah,
and
all the courses.
yet to give my thesis. But
Okay.
I after that I never ran after that actually.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I thought like it will. Although it is another kind of a decision I took, I don't know whether it's right or
No,
wrong.
no, no.
I thought
It
like
depends. Yeah.
no, you may not need this
Yes.
actually
Yes.
to spend this much of money for again for the research stuff. So I just dropped out it. Yeah.
Okay, that's still, yeah, still good that you started and you did that. You had a vision to do it. I remember you were putting so much
Yeah,
effort during that
I,
time.
I, I, I encourage people to actually do that uh, in because a lot of good companies they require at least minimum bachelor's degree, and they actually prefer a master's or a PhD.
Yes,
So
yes,
uh, if you're willing to do it, put that effort, put that 4 years or 5 years, and it will pay back definitely. And even right now, I'm thinking like it's just a matter of making my final dissertation and with some research papers.
yes,
I would actually do it and go. But it's all based on your priorities and
priorities.
things when you
Exactly,
come to this
exactly,
level.
exactly.
But if
True,
you are
true.
starting early, I
Yeah,
would
it's better.
recommend you to
It's better.
actually
It's better.
do it, and it might and it will definitely open you few things. At least if you're with good grades, you will get chances to apply for universities back in US or anywhere. So
Yes.
just do it, I might say. Yeah.
Good, good. Thanks for those points, Dan. Those are the points I think most of the people who are trying to go abroad miss out, like the public persona, etc. So those also needs to be there, right? That is good points you pointed out there. It will be very useful for someone who's trying to get into some country as a permanent resident. So yeah, coming back to the technology sec. So you started off with Java programming, right? So what do you think? Which are the pros you think being a Java developer as opposed to being any other developer?
Um, so I actually had to start with Java.
Yeah.
So and all throughout, I have put a lot of effort and time to this,
Yes.
learning resources, buying books and stuff
Yes.
like that. I have
Yes.
habit of buying books, although sometimes I don't read all those things.
Yes.
So I might say I was reluctant to actually change, which is actually also not a so good thing to do when you are in this industry. I
Mm-hmm.
have missed quite nice opportunities because of my lack of opportunity, lack of understanding, or lack of proper experience with JavaScript frameworks.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
One good thing is about Java is Java is one of the most popular language.
True, true.
Almost like all running large web scale applications are
Yes,
written in Java or frameworks that supporting
yes,
Java. Most
yes,
of the stuff,
yes,
and also the early mobile applications, J2ME time kind of thing. Like
yes,
this Java is the most popular. I mean, C and C++ always had their place
yes,
on
yes,
a certain track. They
yes.
always had their gravity and value on a certain track. But most web applications and stuff like that, public facing applications, were popular with Java,
Yes,
at least the industries that we worked across. So
yes, true,
I might say Java is one good thing. You have a lot of jobs opening
true, true,
there for Java,
true.
and Java opens you to many other areas as well.
Yes,
Not only web application and stuff like that. If
yes,
you're working with IoT or everything, these are actually connected, interconnected.
yes,
So being a high level language is one good thing, and after Java being taken by Oracle. Now it has proper quick updates or version releases,
yes,
proper
true.
long LTS versions. I think every 6 months or so.
Yes,
But
exactly. Every
so
6 months.
that's also one good thing. Java always had a really large community around it.
Yes,
That's backing. Um, like most of the project at that time. I think still now, like like Apache Software Foundation, most of the large projects I think
run in Java.
are
Yes,
backed by Java
Java.
and things like that.
Yeah.
But these are the few things. But
Yes,
I might say it's the reason that I put a lot of time and effort for Java. I was reluctant to change into
that's fine.
any other thing.
That's
The
fine.
Python might,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, but the languages like Python also had the same opportunity for the last 7 8 years. Data
Data
science,
science,
AI,
etc.
things
Yes,
like that.
exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good. I also prefer that path, like to become, in order to get the breadth, I mean, depth of knowledge instead of the breadth of knowledge. So I'm also like someone who wants to learn more about Java than going into other programming languages and learning a bit and pieces of there. So which is a good thing. Then I also feel that you have become a very good expert in Java, and which makes you very good in Java and get more opportunities in Java path as well. So that is also something very good. But yeah, but nowadays people think about full stack also, and they want to learn bits and pieces of multiple programming languages and go into different different aspects of programming as well. But it depends, right? So as you said, for you it worked out really well, which is very glad to see. Of course. So, in terms of cons, any problems you face day to day being a Java developer? Do you think there are any issues being a Java developer which makes a bit things difficult?
but usually Java has the nature of these boilerplate codes. Basically, if you're but recently on with the frameworks like Spring Boot and things like that, most of these uh, things are actually encapsulated and given proper easy APIs for the developers to actually work on. This is one good thing with the involvement of Java actually,
Yes.
and the bad thing is actually if you working on core platforms like core Java only, if you have to be more focused on Java memory management
Yes.
and transaction level detailing and things like that, these will be a bit difficult
Yes.
with
True. True.
writing boilerplate codes, and you
True.
have to
True.
be very much focused on these things. There is an added complexity, and
Yes.
on the other hand, maybe languages like Go and things like that will give you more leverage
Yes.
into uh, problems like these.
Yes.
So Java had that complexity actually, and it has an initial
Learning
uh,
curve. Learning
learning
curve
curve,
is there. Yes,
yeah,
true,
bit
true.
difficult. But once you get into it,
Hmm.
it's easy. And
Yes.
nowadays, what I have seen is like just only by looking into few things like primitives or for loop or kind of things, like it's hard to see what's really going on. The introduction of lambda, maybe, and there are a lot of things actually being changing even for the most experienced people. It is hard to actually you had Java 8 and 11, and then came 17, which everyone encouraged you to actually move into.
Yes.
So, but there are subtle differences, and the way of working when it comes to these different things. So personally, I have felt if you don't keep proper understanding or the proper propagation from one version to the other, or if
Yes.
you don't have that understanding, it
It's
might
going to be a problem.
be
Yeah.
difficult to write proper quality
True. True.
code.
True.
But if
True.
you are, on the other hand, jumping directly into learning Java 17 or something like that, then it might be easy for
Easier.
sometimes you to
Easier. True.
understand
True.
from the proper beginning, and like that
True. True. True.
kind of you will have the initial
True,
understanding. Yeah.
true, true. That's a good point you made there. Then you have we have to keep track of what's happening with different versions. What are the latest versions, functionalities provided by the latest versions and all. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. Yeah, true. So then, so when you let's say you are programming and when you get stuck somewhere, so how easy it is to get help for in terms of Java. So what do you do? How do you get the help and all? Yeah.
Yes. So in terms of the community, I must say the plain old Stack Overflow
Of
always
course,
is
yes,
there. I
yes,
must be really grateful and thankful to people there.
yes, true, true.
Numerous people, individuals who actually put their time to help answer questions there. So
Yes.
Stack Overflow my go-to place,
Okay, good.
and based on the projects or sometimes your past code bases and stuff like that, and then the GitHub, and especially some YouTube channels.
Yes, yes,
People used to do this 10 5 minutes of some small kind of POCs or proof of
yes,
concepts or
yes,
little examples.
yes, yes.
Yes, those are very, very valuable
Option.
sometimes.
Yes, of course.
So basically, I would say Stack Overflow, YouTube, and GitHub are the main.
Good, good.
And recently, all these AI tools and integration to language models, ChatGPT, and all these things are really nice, but it might be not always accessible
Yes,
within your domain, like
yes,
GitHub Copilot or things like this.
yes, yes.
But still, Stack Overflow pretty much works for everything.
Great, 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 Diana. Yeah. So, do you follow any forums or mailing lists or Java user groups, jugs and all? Are you active in those? Do you like how's the culture over there also in Auckland? Like, do they have Java user groups and all
Uh,
or forums or something like that?
when it comes to actually these active user groups and stuff like whatever the community events, I might say New Zealand, Auckland is not much active
Okay,
comparing to Singapore or some cities
especially
outside of New Zealand like Melbourne or Sydney.
yes, yes,
Um, and when it comes to your involvement, it's actually your attitude and
yes,
your willingness to help others. Most of the time, like we are looking for some issue to get an answer, and you um, um, just you can find it there somewhere through, and you just copy paste or do some tweaks, and after that you completely forget about that.
yes,
You never.
yes,
That's, I must admit that actually, even we don't care to say thanks or at least give a feedback, but
yes,
these days I'm actually trying to break that norm and actually try to engage in these things.
yes,
Um, there is one group in LinkedIn called Java Spring Users Group, which
Okay,
I like.
okay.
People used to jump in, and the one that you maintained, your tech blog, is one very helpful one. And even recently, like I came across something about masking this data and
Yes,
stuff like
yes,
that,
yes, yes. I read
yeah,
one
which
article.
is quite nicely explained. And I would actually like to take this opportunity to thank you also. I
Wow,
got
wow.
inspired by you actually to contribute to open source.
Yes,
That's how I
yes.
ended up contributing to Spring
Wow,
Security, and
wow, wow.
thanks for that.
Yeah, wow.
Um,
Welcome, welcome,
yeah,
Dayan, of
and
course.
a lot of good folks who do these things. So
Yes. Yeah,
I have subscribed to a few channels in
that's good.
YouTube,
Yeah.
and these things mainly help me. Yeah.
Great, great. Yeah, my next question is open source involvement. Of course, it's a very big achievement and very big, very good thing you are doing right now. So you, of course, you are actively involved in Spring Security open source project. So any other open source projects which you are using right now in your job, which you might want to, like, if you can, if you don't have any NDA or any non-disclosure agreements or anything,
Yes.
you can just talk about that. Yeah.
I was actually thinking we're using Camel. Actually, one of the first projects that actually I forked into my repository was Camel.
Apache Camel, Apache Camel.
And
Yeah.
I bought this book, Camel in Action,
Yes.
once it's released, and I got connected with the author,
Wow.
and who's actually also the main developer for the Apache Camel project.
Wow. Wow.
And I wanted to actually jump into this, but somehow I couldn't continue with that. And
Okay.
currently, also we're using Apache Camel.
Okay.
And it was long time back, and I was actually thinking jumping into Apache Camel or some of the Apache Software Foundations project,
Yes.
maybe Apache Commons or something like that, because we
Okay.
always all the
All
time
the time
use.
use it without knowing it. That's true.
Yeah, without using. So I was actually thinking to jump into some ASF project. Actually thinking, but for the time being, it's only Spring
Spring Security,
Security
which is good. Which is
um,
good.
uh,
Which is one of the
that I.
heavily used open source projects. So if you are contributing to that, you are touching, I think definitely millions of people. So which is like
Yeah.
outstanding. Which is, I'm very proud. I'm very happy and very proud that you are doing that, because that project. I also got the interest to contribute to that project because of that reason. Because there are so many people who are using it. Spring Security is like the de facto open source project for web application security. So
Yes,
there
there
is
is no other way that you can quickly do that.
that
No way,
exactly, exactly,
actually. Yes, true,
exactly,
true.
which is very good, Diana, which is very commendable. Okay, so now we are in like a crunch question. Like, of course, everybody who's willing to come to a country like New Zealand, which is a very good country, so they would be interested in the salary, right? Of course, they would like think how much they can earn and all, so that they can live a
Yes.
better life. So, in terms of a salary range, then can you tell me like how much are you earning right now? How much is it possible for someone who's, let's say, with 2 years or 3 years of experience can earn in back in New Zealand?
Yeah, yeah, good question actually. Everyone actually must focus on their salary, their perks and things like that, because you put your time and efforts
True, true.
to come to this level, and you must actually focus and look for the highest where you can earn while having a good work-life balance as well.
Yes.
So on that note, I would say few things before crunching in numbers. So we're talking about the numbers. So uh, if you're looking for a job outside of your country, or even back in Sri Lanka, or any other place, know what you are entitled
Hmm.
and what are your rights are,
Yes.
because you don't need to actually disclose your current salaries. There
Hmm.
being instances in past, actually recruiters back in Malaysia have asked me
True, true,
three
true.
months past salaries
Yes.
of mine. There's no way in these countries that you do that, and it is actually illegal.
Yes.
And I think it must be the case in other countries as well.
True. True.
So simply, you don't need to actually disclose your current salary. That's
Yes.
one thing. And
Okay. Good. Good point.
also, make sure, based on your experience and your confidence levels, based on your research, um, uh, in the first half of your interview process with the recruiter or the technical manager, just ask for the salary level that is going with this particular role. There are
Mm-mm.
L1, L2 based on the companies,
Yes. Yes.
senior or junior
Yes.
or
Yes.
principal kind of levels and things like that. Based on that, they have a range actually
Yes.
for these salaries. So
Yes.
between that, you can actually, if you're applying for a senior role, usually here in New Zealand, so you can think of somewhere between uh, maybe 130 to 180, 189, something like that, a
Most.
range for the permanent roles, and more
Yes.
than that for the total compensation earnings if you are doing
Contract
contracting.
roles.
So
Yes.
hourly wages will be like around 90 to 130, 50 kind of per hour.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So
Good.
as a person, it's always good to know, I must say, do your research, like look
Yes.
for places like Glassdoor or
Yes.
levels.fy or somewhere where you can actually compare the salaries. Talk to your friends, talk to
Yes.
your friends. You might be able to find someone, actually, even if you don't know him throughout the LinkedIn or something, give an honest idea of
Yes.
what to see or what to ask.
Yes.
So rather than you trying to directly come up with a number,
Yeah.
do your research and
Mm-mm.
see, have a gut feeling on what you can ask for.
Yes.
And also, there are good lessons, and even there is a complete chapter of how to negotiate. One of these books called like cracking the interview.
Okay.
I think. Gail Lickman or some, I can't really remember the
Okay.
name.
Okay. Good.
So just try to understand what you can do with this salary,
Yes.
and then pick your number. And in
Yes.
terms of range, I must say, in here in New Zealand, for a senior software engineer, you can ask somewhere around from one somewhere from starting from 100 to actually 180,
Wow.
something like
Wow.
that.
Wow. Good.
So it fluctuates,
Okay.
and usually some companies put the numbers, and yeah, some don't.
Hmm. Okay, then. Okay, that is good. That is very good points you made there, which will be very helpful for someone who's negotiating a salary and all. And even back in Sri Lanka, it will be very helpful there. So yeah. So in wrapping up, so what is your message? Who's trying to come into the IT industry? Let's say a uni student, undergraduate, or someone who's doing they're working in their first or second year of their IT career. So what is your message? Final message that you would give them?
Yeah. So the first thing is actually, uh, uh, just try to understand what you're doing and do some research on the industry, and don't go with the hype of that you need to learn JavaScript or something like that, or Java or anything.
Good.
Just try to understand what's the industry is going and what would be good for you, and based on that, put your full effort to start from the ground up, learn basics.
Good.
It is really, really important that you know how computer science works, how underneath an operating system works,
True.
how
True.
memory is working, how the operating system talks to application, how the hardware works,
True. True.
and data structures and algorithms. And I must say, it is a must do kind of thing, because including me, I felt that is a barrier, that I know a lot of things, but when it comes to breaking these algorithm code things and stuff like that, you need to have a practice where you
Yes,
have
true.
learned these things throughout the time. So I might say focus on what you are learning, and the consistency is most important,
Mm.
right? Consistency. It's
Yes.
really, 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 really
Wow,
important. It is
wow.
not that you are putting 5 days to learn something,
And then forget about
but
the thing.
put 15 minutes every day
True.
throughout your time is to learn what you are learning.
Wow, wow. That's a good point.
Consistency, and just break the norm, and put some time to learn something outside yours,
Yes.
maybe on AI, or maybe on how application programming stuff work, how satellite communication works, and
Yeah,
these
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
always try to read something, but um, um, that gives you knowledge, more broader kind of thing.
True, true, true,
Um,
true, true,
and when it comes to picking a job, don't pick jobs based on others' inputs on how much they get paid, or
true, true.
how much free beer you can have on a Friday, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So unless you don't have any option, always do your research before jumping into a job.
Yes.
When you are young, go for long hours to work. Put much as effort you can,
Can, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because there will be a time in your career, but that you may be draining out of your energy, and you
True,
can't
true,
really put long hours, and you
true.
shouldn't,
Shouldn't. That's
right?
true. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
And so it's in early career. So these are the few things that I think someone might have
Told,
told me
yeah,
long
told
time
you, yeah, told you when you
before.
were interested.
Yeah, and other than that, it's okay to fail and completely blow things out.
Yes, yes. That's how you learn,
Um,
right? Yeah,
uh,
that's how you will learn.
yeah, periods of layoffs and stuff like that. Life
Yeah,
is different, so
yeah.
just play cool, and use your gut feeling, and you'll be a winner in no time.
Wow, wow, those are very nice words to hear. Even for me, those are very important words you just said. Very, very, very nice to hear those from you. And of course, I observe your background. You are a very avid reader, which is also something we all can learn from you. You have so many books lying in your background. I see
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
I
see
must say that
stuff.
I love books.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I might not read from end to end,
But yeah, but
these
still,
things.
yeah.
Mostly, I take books,
Refer.
and if I'm, yeah, looking for to learn few things, I read only few chapters to
Chapters,
learn
yeah, yeah,
things.
yes.
But it's good to keep that going.
Yeah, true,
Keep
true,
that
true.
going. Yeah, in simple manners, put your time into work properly.
True, true, Daniel. Thanks.
And this is coming from someone that have wasted years
Of
without
course, of
anything, I
course.
must
Of
say.
course, I am also guilty in that scenario. Of course, we are wasting our time. But yeah, that's very good advice you just told us, Dana. Love to hear those from you. Yeah. And thank you very much, Dana. I think that's all we have for our viewers. We covered most of the things which we were intending to cover. So thank you very much for spending your valuable Sunday evening with us and trying helping us all of us out, even myself, and which is very commendable. And keep up your good work. You are. I mean, I'm also a very big fan of you. Whatever you do, I've explained. I mean, I've explained about your character and your talents and all to many of my friends as well here, because you are a very unique person. You are multi-talented. You have so many, you know, we used to cook, and you have eaten food you have cooked, and it was very good during those times in back in Malaysia. We will never forget those things. And have a nice day, Diana, and have a nice career in front of you. We wish
All
you
right,
best
thanks,
of luck,
thanks, Sachin.
Diana.
I'm really honored and happy that you gave this opportunity to
Of
actually
course,
talk
of
to
course,
people
of course.
around, and to be honestly, I inspired from you on many things, and you being, but and I remember a long time back, even in Malaysia, when you came, and there was a place, but there was a time that I actually wanted to write a Linux script, something similar to start up MySQL, something similar, that MySQL service, Windows service, a Linux script for one of my applications, and which I was actually had few things to clear up, and I was kind of struggling. And I remember help me. This is not about how many experience and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. It's the
yeah, yeah.
community that you
Help.
give and take and
True,
learn
true,
from
true.
where, and
That's true.
humble to learn and
That's true.
humble to give back.
That's true. That's true.
And yes, thank you very much for your time as well. Yeah, good luck with everything.
Okay, then. Okay, thank you very much, and have a nice day. We'll, of course, definitely chat again later. Thanks.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Okay, everyone. I hope you had a very good session with Dayan Kodippily, who's an expert in Java and who has been there in the industry since 2008. So I'm pretty sure you would have learned a lot from him and his experiences. And if you are looking to go abroad or work in a country like New Zealand, it would be very helpful for you, whatever the thoughts he shared with you. So, thank you very much for your time spent on this weekend, and have a good evening and have a good day. So, keep learning, keep improving, never give up, and one day you will also become a very good software engineer. Thank you very much.